When we talk about Irish authors, there's one that we often overlook. This is a piece of one of his short stories, an excerpt from Dracula's Guest by Bram Stoker. The storm had passed, and perhaps in sympathy with nature's silence, my heart seemed to cease to beat. But this was only momentarily, for suddenly the moonlight broke through the clouds, showing me that I was in a graveyard, and that before me was a great massive tomb of marble, as white as the snow that lay on and all around it. With the moonlight, there came a fierce sigh of the storm, which appeared to resume its course with a long, low howl, as of many dogs or wolves. I was awed and shocked, and felt the cold perceptibly grow upon me till it seemed to grip me by the heart. Then, while the flood of moonlight still fell on the marble tomb, the storm gave further evidence of renewing, as though it was returning on its track. I approached the sepulchre to see what it was, and why such a thing stood alone in such a place. I walked around it and read over the door, in German, Countess Dollingen of Graz, in Styria, sought and found death, 1801. On the top of the tomb, seemingly driven through the solid marble, for the structure was composed of a few vast blocks of stone, was a great iron spike or stake. On going to the back, I saw, graven in great Russian letters, "The dead travel fast." There was something so weird and uncanny about the whole thing that it gave me a turn and made me feel quite faint. I began to wish for the first time that I had taken my driver's advice. Here a thought struck me, which came under almost mysterious circumstances and with a terrible shock. This was Walpurgis night, when, according to the belief of millions of people, the devil was abroad, when the graves were opened and the dead came forth and walked, when all evil things of earth and air and water held revel. This very place my driver had specially shunned. He said it was the depopulated village of centuries ago where the suicides lay. And this was the place where I was alone, unmanned, shivering with cold in a shroud of snow, with a wild storm gathering again upon me. It took all my philosophy, all the religion I had been taught, all my courage not to collapse in a paroxysm of fright. And now a perfect tornado burst upon me. The ground shook as though thousands of horses thundered across it. And this time the storm bore on its icy wings not snow, but great hailstones. I leaned against the door. It moved slightly and opened inwards. The shelter of even a tomb was welcome in that pitiless tempest, and I was about to enter it, when there came a flash of forked lightning that lit up the whole expanse of the heavens. In that instant, as I am a living man, I saw, as my eyes were turned into the darkness of the tomb, a beautiful woman, with rounded cheeks and red lips, seemingly sleeping on a bier. As the thunder broke overhead, I was grasped as by the hand of a giant and hurled out into the storm. The whole thing was so sudden that before I could realize the shock, moral as well as physical, I found the hailstones beating me down. At the same time, I had a strange, dominating feeling that I was not alone. I looked towards the tomb. Just then there came another blinding flash, which seemed to strike the iron stake that surmounted the tomb and to pour through the earth, blasting and crumbling the marble as in a burst of flame. The dead woman rose for a moment of agony, while she was lapped in the flame, and her bitter scream of pain was drowned in the thunder crash. The last thing I heard was this mingling of dreadful sound, as again I was seized in the giant grasp and dragged away, while the hailstones beat on me, and the air around seemed reverberant with the howling of wolves. The last sight I remembered was a vague, white, moving mass, as if all the graves around me had sent out the phantoms of their sheeted dead, and that they were closing in on me through the white cloudiness of the driving hail.
This is insane. Where did they all come from on a Tuesday afternoon, for feck's sake? Not one space in the whole lot. You know what I mean? What? You're the one that refused to park in the street. There was tons of spots back there. But no, God forbid we walk a block or two. I would have. But as usual, you're not wearing any pants. It's embarrassing. Oh, God. I promise to never touch another drop if you just give me a parking place. Hey, Father, look. A space! Right there in front of us. It's a miracle.
Phew.
Never mind her, Lord. I found one.
I am no longer fully fledged, no longer just of the world. I'm fading in body, mind, and outlook. I noticed it first in a park. I sat on a bench. A little old lady was close, on the next bench by herself. I did not nod to or greet her as once I might have. Instead, I watched a young couple and a child enjoying the summer sun. It was as if I was not there. I used them to drift back to an ether of my younger days, when I was fit for splendid frays. This reckoning came about not fast. My life is long but will not last. This specter me is coming close. I will be a fine new ghost. Happy Halloween, my friends. Thanks for having me here.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Bennett. My composition Isle of Mystery, which I played on wire-strung Celtic harp, or clarsach, on the CD Sacred Oaks, was inspired by Avalon, mystical island of Celtic legend, shrouded in mists, home of the Sidhe, and secret gateway to the other world.
pocket.
The following is adapted from mythology.net. It's a dark night in Ireland, and the forests are filled with mist. A blood-curdling wail slices open the silence, and it is followed by more cries. You might think that the anguished cries are coming from a dying person, and in a way, you would be right. These are cries of the ghostly banshees, meant as a warning that death approaches. They can appear as withered old hags or supernaturally beautiful women. They wear shadowy gray cloaks or silvery shrouds over red or green dresses. Their hair, which can be red or a pale color that shimmers like wildfire, is long and wind-blown, and their eyes are always inflamed from weeping. Their dark appearance probably comes from the tragedy of their own lives. Many people believe they are the spirits of women who were murdered or died in childbirth. Others believe that they are fairy queens who were driven underground by the arrival of humans. Banshees are also capable of deep devotion. Each banshee serves a specific family and will spend centuries trailing the children of that family. They are also deeply devoted to their country, Ireland, and will attach themselves only to families who are descended from Celts, not Normans or Saxons. Banshees are best known for their premonitions. They always appear shortly before the death of someone in their designated family. In a few stories, they have spoken out to tell exactly who would die and how. In most cases, they simply wail. But the banshee's wail, in and of itself, is a powerful message. It can be heard for miles and always chills the hearts of people who hear it. Some stories have described glass windows shattering when hit by the high plaintive notes of the banshee's song. Before there were banshees wandering the hills of Ireland, there were real women called keeners who were hired to grieve either at a funeral or outside of a house where someone was expected to die. Their wailing songs inspired other people to grieve for the dead as well. Historical records show that keeners were active around the 8th century. Sometimes after the 8th century, their popularity began to fade, but their legend lived on in the form of banshees. By the 15th century, belief in the banshees was so widespread that even King James I of Scotland reported encountering one of them.
As I roved out on a bright May morning to view the meadows and the flowers gay, whom should I spy but my own true lover, as she sat on the young willow tree. I took off my hat and I did salute her. I did salute her most courageously. When she turned around, well, the tears fell from her. Same false young man, you have deluded me. A diamond ring I owned, I gave her. A diamond ring to wear on your right hand. But the vows you made, love, you went and broke them, and married a lassie that had the land. If I'd married a lassie that had the land, my dove. It's that I would rue until the day I die. When misfortune falls, sure no man can shun it. I was a blood fool, but now I see. Now at night when I go to my bed of slumber, the thoughts of my true love run in my mind. When I turn around to embrace my darling, instead of gold, it's brass I found. And I wish that the Queen would call back her armies from the West Indies, America, and Spain, and every man to his wedded woman, in hopes that you and I will meet again.
Yeah.
Hello, my Celtic Arts Center friends. I'd like to tell you a spooky Samhain story. This is Tam O'Shanter by Robert Burns, partly in the original Scots and partly in English. Tam O'Shanter was a Scottish farmer who liked to dally too much at the pub, and one night he had a harrowing experience on his way home. He mounted his grey mare Meg and set out into a terrible storm. The wind blew as 'twould blawn its last, the rattling showers rose in the blast, the speedy gleams the darkness swallowed, blew deep and lang, the thunder bellowed. That nicht a child micht understand the Dill had business on his hand. The Dill being the devil. Tam rides along cautiously, holding his hat against the wind and singing to himself for comfort, while keeping his eyes out for ghosts and goblins. He's approaching the haunted church at Alloway. The rain is lashing down, the lightning is flashing, the thunder rolls are coming nearer and nearer. Then, through the groaning trees, he spies the Alloway church, which, to his utter amazement, is ablaze with light. And he can hear sounds of mirth and dancing coming from within. Here Burns remarks on the risks one is inclined to take when emboldened by drink. Inspiring John Barleycorn, what dangers thou canst mock a scorn. With tippenny we fear nae evil, with Ushkabe we'll face the devil. Ushkabe, of course, being whiskey. So Tam wasn't afraid of this strange scene, as he should well have been, but Maggie knew better, and stood stock still till Tam prodded and poked her to keep moving. And that's when Tam saw an incredible sight. Warlocks and witches in a dance. Nae coatil yon Brent knew frae France, but hornpipes, jigs, strathspeys, and reels put life and metal in their heels. In the window alcove sat Satan himself in the shape of a big shaggy dog, black and grim. It was his job to play the pipes for the dancers, and he made them squeal till the roof and rafters rang. There were open coffins all around with dead bodies in them, still in their funeral clothes, and by some strange magic, each one held in its hand a light by which Tam could see all sorts of horrible and awful things upon the altar. A murderer's bones still in leg irons, a thief just cut from his hanging rope, his mouth still agape with his last gasp, 5 tomahawks rusted red with blood, a belt which had strangled a baby, a knife which had been used by a son to cut his own father's throat, with grey hair still stuck to the shaft. As Tam stared at the scene in amazement, the festivities got louder and louder, and the dancing grew wilder and faster, until finally the sweating, stinking witches threw off their ragged clothes and started dancing in their underskirts. As Tammy glowered, amazed and curious, the mirth and fun grew fast and furious. The piper lewed and lewder blew, the dancers quick and quicker flew. They reeled, they set, they crossed, they cleekit, till ilka carl and swat and reekit, and coast her daddies to the work, and linkit at it in her sark. Scandalous. But there was one winsome jolly witch named Nanny, who was dancing with the old hags, wearing a very short underskirt of paisley. Short skirt in Scots is cutty sark. She commanded the attention of Tam, for she was young and attractive and very lively. Even the devil, watching her dance, became fidgety and lustful. Finally, Tam can't contain his excitement any more, and he shouts out, "Well done, short skirt!" And instantly, all the action comes to a screeching halt, and the church goes dark. Burns calls upon his muse to help him describe this fantastical scene, but says it's beyond her power to do so. That's how astonishing it was. But here my muse her wing maun cour, sic flichts are far beyond her poor, to sing who Nanny lap and flang, a supple chod she was and strang, and who Tam stood like een bewitched, and thought 'tis very een enriched. Even Satan glowered and fidged full fain, and hotched and blew with micht and main, till first ye capers, ane and nither, tan tint his reason a' together, and roars out, "Well done, Cutty Sark!" And in an instant all was dark, and scarcely had he Maggie rallied, when out the hellish legion sallied, as bees bezoot wi' angry fyke, when plundering herds assail their bike, as eager runs the merry crowd, when "Catch the thief!" resounds aloud. So Maggie runs, the witches follow, wi' mony an eldritch screech and hollow. So all the witches are after Tam with hell and fury for having seen them at their revels, a sight that no mortal man is allowed to witness. Now it's up to Tam's steadfast mare Meg to save them both from doom. Meg has to get them to the keystone of the bridge, for no diabolical power can pursue you beyond the middle of a running stream. The bridge is close, so if Meg can just outrun this hellish legion pursuing them, all will be well. Once she's gotten her master safe across the water, she can toss her tail at them. But Meg couldn't resist, and she scornfully tossed her tail a moment too soon at Nanny, who was close upon their heels. Nanny was able to grab her tail and rip it right off, just before they reached the bridge, leaving poor Maggie with only a stump. Here we come to the end of this ghoulish tale, and with it an admonition not to linger too long at the alehouse, or to give oneself over to the admiration of Cutty Sarks. Noo, wha this tale of truth shall read, ilk man and mother's son, tak heed. Whene'er to drink ye are inclined, or Cutty Sarks run in your mind, think, ye may buy the joys o'er dear, remember Tam O'Shanter's mare. So, I hope that has taught us all a lesson. Anyway, I miss you all, my Celtic Arts Center friends. I hope we'll get to see each other soon again, and have a very happy Samhain.
Greetings, Celtic Arts Center. I want to wish you a very happy Samhain. This song is called Spirit of the Woodland, and I wrote this one with my mom, Brenda. And it's about the story of Samhain. Moan in the darkness, dim soft twilight, just out of earshot, very beyond sight. Love is waiting at the end of the lane, in the oak trees' dark shadows, gray
Eh? You podgy fucking Egypt yank. It's Samhain, not Samhain. Samhain? Have you not a twitter of wit about you? Oh, stop your whining and crying now. I ain't gonna shoot you unless you wire me to the fucking moon with a faulty plug. Oh, Jesus, where the fuck was I? Oh, right. I want you to tell me that you love me. Repeat after me. I love you, Silky. Not Silky. Silky. And after you say them words, I want you to say Samhain. Samhain. Say the bloody word.
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. My monster from his slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise,
He did the mash.
he did the monster mash.
Monster mash.
It was a graveyard smash.
He did the mash.
It caught on in a flash.
He did the mash.
He did the monster mash. From my laboratory in the castle east to the musket head and a vampire's feast. The ghouls all came from their hunting grounds, the jolt from my electrode.
They did the mash.
They did the monster mash.
Monster mash.
It was a graveyard smash.
They did the mash.
It caught all in a flash.
They did the mash.
They did the monster mash. The zombies were having fun. The party had just begun. The guests included Wilkin, Dracula, and his son. The scene was rocking, always making the sounds. Eagle chained back by his baying hounds. The covenant bangers were about to arrive. If there were the crypt kicker five, they played the mash. They played the monster mash.
The monster mash.
It was a graveyard smash.
They played the mash.
It caught on in a flash.
They played the mash.
They played the monster mash. Oh, Scotland Rex voice to me. Seems he was troubled by just one thing. Go to the league. The zombies faced and said, whatever happened to my Transylvania twist?
It's now the mash.
It's now the monster mash.
Monster mash.
And it's a graveyard smash.
It's now the mash.
It's caught on in a flash.
It's now the mash.
It's now the monster mash. Now everything Dracula part of the bad. And my monster mash is the hit of the land. For you to live, this mash was meant to. When you get to my door, tell them Boris sent you. And you can mash. And you can monster mash.
Monster mash.
And do my graveyard smash.
Then you can mash.
You'll catch on in a flash.
Then you can mash.
Then you'll get monster mash. Easy, going, catch you in young board.
Then you can mash.
Then you'll get monster mash.
Monster mash.
And do my graveyard smash.
Then you can mash.
You'll catch on in a flash.
Then you can mash.
Then you'll get monster mash.
Was inspired by Avalon, the mystical island of Celtic legend, shrouded in... Hey, Tino. Hi, I'm Stephanie Bennett. My composition, Isle of Mystery, which I played...
Look.
That thing's in the way. I did that wrong.